last week, I was standing in the center of the ballroom at the Renaissance Hilton in Baltimore, Maryland. On one side of me, right behind me, was a young Puerto Rican woman from New York. And on the other side was an older woman with the most beautiful white hair and a slight German accent. And both of them were yelling in my ear. Who do you think you are? How are you going to pay for this? Where does money come from? Where are you going to find the money to do that? And they went on and on and on, one on this side and the other on that side, in my ear. And at one moment it even intensified, and they got louder and louder and more aggressive as they were saying that to me. And I was standing there going, I am more than this. 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 We were at the Dream Builders Conference last weekend. The spiritual teacher, Mary Morrissey, that many of you are familiar with, had that. And she had been working with us all weekend to identify our paradigm. And those things which seek to hold us back from that which we would wish to have manifest in our lives. And we had many different occasions and points to share that with other people. And this particular exercise, this particular moment, was when we split up into groups of 3. And we each agreed to share some concern, some paradigm, something that was holding us back. And those 2 people would reflect the part in us that whenever we try to move ahead, start saying those little nagging, worrying, dream-destroying things. And so on my left side was a young woman, and on my right side was the older woman. And they went at it. And they did what they were supposed to do. And while they were saying that, and I was standing there, and I was saying to myself, I am more than this, I am more than this, I am more than this, there was a moment at which I felt a shift that says, well, you know, maybe they're right. You know, maybe they know what they're talking about. Maybe what they're saying is true. And it took me a moment as I caught myself slipping into that to be able to shift out. Because what was really happening in that moment was a recreation of what I know that and as I talk with people all the time, many other people go through. That voice, or those voices in our head that tell us that we are less than what we truly are. Those voices in our head that try to pull us back from that which we are really truly meant to be. Those that would distract us from the divine. And I was standing there in the midst of that, and as all of that happened, there was a part of me that wanted to go back, that wanted to agree with them, but I had come to that conference with the intention of moving forward, of integrating my life with all of the aspects of my life, to be able to recognize and to realize the dreams and the goals and the desires that I had. But there was that part of me that still needed to be addressed. And as we were there, Mary Morrissey gave us some things to go on. But as I was thinking and reflecting back on that incident and that exercise, it made me think about a story that is told in the Gospel of John, where after all of the things that Jesus had done, including the power over what some people would say the final say, death, And he came back to the disciples after that. And he found the disciples, as they had looked at the evidence and they had been in the presence of the master teacher Jesus, and their lives had been transformed. There were new opportunities and new availability open to them. And all of that, they decided to go fishing. And you might say, well, what's the big deal about going fishing? Fishing was what they used to do. But their lives had been open to new possibilities. They had new awareness that had been shared with them. And yet, when the opportunity presented itself to them, they decided to go back to the way things used to be. And that's really what I was learning that paradigm is all about. It wants to pull us back to the way things used to be. And there are ways that it does it. There's one of the number one tools that it uses, besides the negative self-talk, is distraction. You know, you set your goals. You decide that this is going to be the week that I'm going to work toward the things that I wish to have in my life. And Monday morning, I'm going to get at it, and I'm going to do the things that I'm going to do. And that little voice inside of your head says, well, you know, you had a rough weekend. Why not wait until Tuesday? Or another voice that says, well, yeah, you're on it. Go ahead and do it. But, you know, you might have gotten an email, or just take a moment and log on to Facebook for just a minute and see what folks are doing. And next thing you know, half of the day is gone. The things that we set out to do are gone. Because see, while they were in my ear really talking loudly, and a lot of times it's that little subtle way that it distracts us. And we get tempted to go back to the way things used to be, because there's that thing. And Mary Morrissey, she kept giving us this one thing that she kept saying over and over again, and I got it now. Now I'm still working with it, but I got it. But one of the first points that she mentioned is to notice what you were noticing. To notice what you are noticing. And I've said that before, that whenever we want to have transformation and do our self-development, one of the first things we need to do is awareness. And notice what you are noticing is important. It's important because whatever else we do beyond that, first of all, is going to be shaped by whatever it is we are noticing. So and the thing about it is, as we notice what we are noticing, meaning we are aware of what is going on in us, and we are aware of what is going on around us, as we notice that what we're paying attention to, we have to do it without judgment. Because if we start to judge, well, I shouldn't be thinking that way, or I shouldn't have said this, or I shouldn't have said that, I shouldn't have done that, then what we do is we pull ourselves away from the awareness and the gift that comes when we just simply observe that that's where we are. At that point and at that moment in life, in that instant, whatever it is that we are feeling, whatever it is that we're thinking, pay attention. Because the universe is constantly giving us signs. It is constantly giving us feedback. It responds to whatever it is that we are offering in our thought. And one of the things that when we become aware of what we are noticing, when we notice what we are noticing, then it helps us to understand what is happening for us, because the universe responds. And then if what we don't like is happening, we can change it. We can make that shift. But it only becomes available to us when we notice what we are noticing. So we have to pay attention. And as we pay attention and we get into that place and into that space where we notice what we're noticing, we notice it without judgment, then we find the space in the room to make the shift, to change, to be in another place, in another time where we ultimately know what it means to be not conformed to this world, to be transformed by the renewing of our mind when we notice what we are noticing. And so as we do that, one of the questions we need to ask ourselves is when we catch ourselves thinking certain things, what have I been thinking about the last 5 minutes, and how have I been feeling it, and what is it about that? Then the magic of the universe, as I like to call it. And when I say magic, what I mean is that we begin to see and notice patterns in our life, things happening for us and things happening around us. They're on, as we were getting ready to go to the conference last weekend, and we got to the airport and we got there early, and so we had some time. And I mentioned to Emma, I said, well, let's walk down this concourse, because I wanted to see about getting something to eat down there. And so we made the trip down that concourse. I don't know what it was that said within me, go this way, but we went that way. We got halfway down, we decided, well, I decided, because she wasn't hungry, that we'll just, head back to our gate and everything like that. And as we were walking back, we heard a voice call to us, say, hey, you two. And it was a friend of ours that was there. He's a manager for a couple of restaurants that are in the airport. And we got to talking with him. And one of the things that had been on both of our minds was our daughter Raven was looking for a job. And so as we started to talk to him, and he started talking about the fact that he was looking for people to work for him. And ultimately, the ensuing conversation, the connection got made, the interview happened, the job got offered, and there it is. And I said to myself as we were walking on, now a lot of people would say that that was a coincidence. But as you really begin to get into this, you begin to understand that it's more than just coincidence. Because for no other reason than just on a whim to say, walk down this concourse. Because we were saying later, we would never have even thought about him, and it wasn't that, it's just not a person that would have just immediately come to mind, but because of the situation that we both had some concern for, and were wanting to see a good thing happen with the result of that, all because of, instead of going left, going straight for a few minutes, resulted in that. And then when I look at a lot of other things in life, and begin to understand that it is, as we talk about the universe, conspiring on our behalf. It conspires on our behalf. We have a place in this space, in this universe, in which God truly loves us. Just loves us. And is offering all that God can for us if we learn to be aware, to trust, and to accept it, and to allow it happen in our lives. And then when we do that, we come into the divine flow. And as we move into the divine flow and we orient and tune ourselves in that way, we can begin to see the path for things, to begin to set the intention for things. We can begin to, I got that from the conference, but the 3 things that I said at the beginning that we were going to do for setting our intention, we were going to tune in. And when we learn how to tune in, it means that when things start happening around me and to me, and people are saying things or whatever else, that I can just take that moment, breathe, and know that God is closer than breathing, nearer than hands than feet, as the poet would say. That God is right there with me. I tune in, and then I turn up the volume. Not on negative stuff, but I turn up the volume on that which is deep within me that tells me with assurance, I am more than this. I am more than this. I am more than this. And we don't even have to yell it. We can just simply, softly whisper it. Because the power is already there. If we want to yell it, we can yell it, but ultimately, if you watch Ralph Collier for a moment, because, spirituality and creativity and musicianship and all that, it's all the same. It's all the same. But if you notice for a moment, it got really loud and strong and forceful, but then there was moments where it also got subtle. Same power, same presence. But when we turn up the volume, not in terms of sound, but our willingness to give over to the universe, then we hit the third component, which is transformational willingness. That I am willing to do what it takes to transform. I am willing to make the commitment to say that today I accept the transformation that is already happening in me. I today declare that I am transformed, renewed, rejuvenated, strengthened, determined, convicted, convinced, understand this, that I am willing to go on that journey that Spirit has for me. I'm willing to do what it is, what it takes, what I have to do, where I have to be, no matter what it is. That no matter how other people might look at it, what they might say, and I'm there, ready, willing, and able, so that when those voices standing in my ear and saying, you can't, you won't, I'm saying, I am more than this. And the same is true for you. When those voices are saying, the voices of history, your personal history, the people in your family, the people you grew up with, went to school with, that work with, when those collective voices that want to say because of where you came from, or because of what you look like, or because of where you lived, or what you have or don't have, when all of those voices want to say this or that to you and try their best to convince you that they are right, you can declare, I am more than this. A spirit, God, the universe, whatever it is that we wish to call it, joins you in affirming. Yes, you are. You are more than this. I want you to take a moment with me. Close your eyes. Take a breath. So breathe in. And we allow ourselves to feel and to notice the vibration, the energy of Source that is moving in and through us right here and now. That which indeed is life, breathing as us, expressing as us, playing as us, loving as us, being as us, says, welcome home. You are all that you wish to be and more. And we allow this to be the voice that as we move from this time, this day forward, that we hear, that allows us to build our dreams and to be that which we would have it to be. And so it is.
It's a pleasure to see you all this morning. I'm especially happy that you're here because I have a guest. Memphis is very rich with a great musical heritage. From the blues to the gospel, so indigenous to this area, to classical and jazz. As a musician, I feel that I have a duty to help keep our art alive. So since I've been affiliated with Open Heart, I've invited great musicians of the area to come and share music with you. so we refer to it as Jazz in June. Today, I have a super man.
All right.
He's a Manassas High School graduate. He was taught by the late, great Emerson Abel.
Yeah.
He earned his Bachelor of Science degree from Arkansas A&M in music education. He also attended Florida A&M. He's played with the United States Air Force Academy Drum and Bugle Corps. He is a retired lieutenant with the Memphis City Fire Department. As a member of the prestigious Memphis Fire Department, he has received the Medal of Bravery and other recognition from our mayor. He's played with many giants such as George Coleman, Fred Ford, Richard Groove Holmes, Ruby Wilson, Finest, and Calvin, yes, Finest and Calvin Newman, Philip Joyner, and a host of others. Along with his lovely bride. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ralph Collier.
Bravo!